One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
Is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Trump, everybody they know, they go vote for Donald Trump, that's the way it goes. All over America, all over the USA, they voted for Donald Trump, that's what I'm trying to say. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. I want to make America great again.
Woo!
I want to lower the taxes. I want to bring all American business back from overseas back to the USA, baby.
There we go.
Ooh, yeah. Donald Trump is now president of your country. Election is over. Everybody can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over. Everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country.
What's up, everybody, on a, let's see, I don't even know what today is. Wednesday afternoon. Woof.
Time's flying, absolutely flying. So much news, so much to get to, so much that people aren't covering, so much of sweet liberal tears are flowing everywhere. I got a whole bunch to cover with you guys, so stay tuned, grab a snack, and let's get into it. So, the first part, as they call in news or in media, the A block that I want to talk to you about today is a prevailing theme that I'm seeing more and more and more. And that prevailing theme is the media and the left still can't come to grips that they got their asses stomped on November 5th. They don't understand the cocoon, the peanut gallery that they listen to all the time. And as you may know, if not, let me be the first to tell you, Comcast decided they're going to sell MSNBC. They're going to break it up. We don't want MSNBC as a part of our normal day-to-day business. If you watch MSNBC for any period of time, you would understand why. Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, Nicole Wallace, blah, 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 all say the same stuff. Jen Psaki, all they do is just go on and just rip into Republicans and MAGA. That's it. That's their entire, I also have to throw in some racial stuff because we're all, racist and, what was the word again? Ethno-fascist. Never going to forget that word. But that's the entirety of their programming. I mean, I understand, and there's a bunch of you that watch, even more than who watch MSNBC, thankfully. And I've got Ashley and I've got Robin. And Ashley is constantly saying to me, why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? Let's do some more of this, do some more of that. I put up a poll. Hey, are the videos too long? Should I shorten them up? What would you like to see? Anyone in business has to keep looking at innovating and adapting and understanding. The market doesn't stay in one place. I've said it many, many times. You want to be where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is. Famously said by Wayne Gretzky. And it's so true. But it seems as though all the Democrats and the left have is that one little box. And they've taken their bubble and stuck it in that box, and they have no idea how to get out of that box, which is good for us. Because it's the same playbook every single time. If you go into a game and I know what that play is. Oh, I know what that play is. You don't have anything different. Then you're easy to defeat. And when I say easy, we just saw what happened on November 5th. And right now, as I've said many times, you should be seeing a different media. But we don't see a different media. We see the same media. But now we're starting to see something. Now, you know about yesterday when Sunny Hostage from The View, her name was Sunny Hostin, but now she's Sunny Hostage because the Spew made her go out there and she didn't apologize, but she basically had to sit on a banana and make nice to Matt Gaetz and say that she lied. And well, yeah, Matt Gaetz has never been charged with anything and there was nothing to it. Yeah, okay, so it's just rumors. But we already know your playbook. We expected that. Trump expected that. I'm sure Matt Gaetz has expected it. And they're still doing it. Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian agent. Yeah, I know. Pete Hegseth, he's a horrible guy. And guess what? Just like, Kavanaugh, he slept with somebody who wasn't supposed to sleep with back in 2004. I mean, it's so tired. You know what they're going to say. But Magic, Morning Joe and Mika, who went down to, Mar-a-Lago to speak with Trump, who got trashed. They got destroyed. I will give them a modicum of credit. We all know they lied. But reality set in like, hey, Comcast is selling this network. What are we going to do for work? More than likely, the new people coming in, whoever buys MSNBC, is going to look at our ratings and I'm not paying you that kind of money. Ain't going to happen. You are not going to get paid that kind of money. So if you want to stay, do what you want. You know what? Maybe just go. We don't even want you here. So they've got to be thinking about their future. And they've got to wonder right now, what can we do? Unfortunately for them, here's what they came up with.
1 in 5 adults regularly get their news from influencers on social media. The number is even higher among younger Americans, with almost 40% under the age of 30 getting their news from those sources. According to the Pew Research Center, the social media site X remains the most widely accessed platform.
Oh, you're admitting it now. Here we are in late November 2024, after the election has been completed, after Kamala spent $1 billion. Now? Now you're admitting? Oh, it's all X. Nobody told her that when she was stroking these checks for $1 billion. Now, all of a sudden, you are the media with all of your resources of Comcast and MSNBC and all the data analysts, and today you're realizing, oh my God, this thing X is like really big. Did you know X was that? Did you know X was that big? I've been telling you. I've been telling you for months. X is media. Media is crap. There's no delineation anymore. X is the media. You are the media. I am the media. These people? No, not so much anymore. Sorry.
Followed by Instagram and YouTube.
I mean, that comes obviously for political news. And Mike, that's the challenge. You grew up in a newsroom like Gene grew up in a newsroom. I mean, that's a lot of challenge. That's a challenge.
Look at their faces. Look at their faces. They look like they just had some bad milk in their coffee. I know it's a 6 a.m. show, but damn, look at their faces. Well, it gets better though. This is some comedic stuff here.
For a lot of mainstream media sources is, do they make themselves relevant again? To hear 20% of adults who actually get influencers on social media.
I don't know
maybe somebody who makes baskets, and while they're making baskets, they look up and say, vote for candidate X.
I don't know how they make themselves.
Somebody who makes they can't help their condescension. You know, somebody who makes baskets, and they look up and go, can you vote for so-and-so? That's what we do. Where's my basket weaving stuff here? Oh my God. Where is
We make ourselves relevant again because we can't compete with 20-second snippets on
How do we make, wait, okay, hold on. You have to understand what this guy just said. This guy's probably been in television for 20, 30 years, probably went to high school in Moses like some of the other ones here. And now he's saying, how do we make ourselves relevant? How do we compete with, 20-second snippets as if that's all there is? That's why one of the questions I asked you guys, y'all looking at 20-second snippets? You watching actual, shows like Benny and Dan Bongino and Crowder and Rogan. 20-second snippets. And think about this. They're asking a question. And usually you ask a question when you don't know the answer, unless you're an attorney. And this guy just said, I don't know how we make ourselves relevant. It was, if I was the vice president or something of this network, I'd walk on set, get out. I pay you too much money for you not to know how to make yourself more relevant.
an iPhone, walking up the street, getting your entire news digest of the day in less than a minute on your phone as you're walking into the crowd with coffee in one hand and your phone in the other. I don't know how we catch up to that.
Yeah, so Gene Robinson, do you agree with Mike? Because I find this hard to believe. Well, that younger vote.
I have an answer for you. It's a real easy answer. Hire people who know how to do it. That's it. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do. I mean, these kids are making videos and walking into Starbucks, and I don't know how we're ever going to be relevant. Because you're not the person. You just answer your question. If this was a, what do you do here type interview, and you told the person that you were interviewing, I don't know how to make myself more relevant. Thank you very much. Next, the fact that he's still on the air. If he's on the air tomorrow, I'd be amazed. How do you tell not just your panel of people you're talking, you just told the world, I'm irrelevant, and I don't know how to fix it. And I'm not sure if you people have seen this, but to me, this was just, I was glad I wasn't drinking anything when I heard these people talk.
Would be more interested in getting an entertaining 20-second news snippet than watching a cable news show for 4 hours from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This seems like an easy choice to us here.
What is wrong with these people? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, look, if I knew the answer, I would.
Wait, if I knew the answer. Another one. Here's a dinosaur has no clue how to reach younger people. This is who the Democrats have counseling them. Kamala took her campaign and said, all right, we got a whole bunch of money. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to have these curmudgeons come on, and they're going to talk about you every day really well, and they're going to talk crap about Trump every single day. That's what's going to get the message out there. People want to hear that. All right, here's a check. Meanwhile, if you had this interview with them beforehand. So, we're seeing we're having a problem with men, and we're seeing we're having a problem, in the younger demographic, and we're seeing we're having a problem with the older demographic, and we're seeing we're having a problem with women. We're having a problem with everybody, okay? How do you get my message out? Well, we're not really sure.
Implement it immediately, right, and reverse this. But we have to compete. I mean, the answer is we don't know how to compete with these social media basket-making influencers or whatever, but
I wouldn't call people like Benny and Don and Rogan and Crowder and myself any sort of insults while we're kicking your ass. I mean, how obtuse do you have to be? How completely brain dead do you have to be to call the people that you don't know what they're doing? You don't know how these people just set up studios in their houses. They're sitting there in their underwear or their pajamas and they're whooping our ass. I'm going to go with the former instead of the latter. Yeah, former. And you don't understand it. You're taking your Uber from the hotel or your condo and you're going into Manhattan. You're paying the extra $9 fee that Kathy Hochul just put out there. You're paying out the wazoo to live in New York because you got to go to the studio 5 times a week. You get to the studio, you go into makeup and everything and whatever hair you have, like a little bit I have, you talk to the stylist, they put you in the right clothing, you get out there, all the lights and cameramen and teleprompters, and you suck. You absolutely suck. Nobody cares. And then you go on television and you tell everybody, I don't even know what we do now. Let me ask you a question. Doesn't matter what kind of business you run. I don't care if you have a dog walking service, which is profitable. If your employee that you've signed to a contract and say, do this, and they said, well, I don't even know what color paint to use. Well, you're a painter. Oh, well, I don't even know which brush to use. That's what they're saying. We don't know how to compete. If I was the CEO of Comcast, I would have just threw up my coffee all over my desk and told my assistant to go down there, find a big black plug in the wall, and pull that sucker. These people are done. Forget about it. Not going to give you any more time. Forget getting any more paychecks.
But we have to, and so we've got to figure out ways to do it. And maybe we make our own 20-second snippets, and we meet viewers where they are. We meet news consumers where they are because they're not here.
Good luck with that. Seriously, good luck with that. As I've mentioned to you, these people in the media are not used to two-way conversations. You watched it. You watched Don Lemon flame out. You watch Chris Cuomo, he had to jump to another network. They can't do it. And now they're faced with the reality of, this ain't working, right? Nope. So now I'm gonna have to do this, right? And hey, how you doing? Yeah. And you're starting from zero. I bet you most of you couldn't name who this guy even is. You probably couldn't tell me this guy's name. You probably couldn't tell me the other guy's name. You know Joe and Mika because they're the hosts, but this guy's career is over. He may not realize it yet because he doesn't even realize what he needs to do, but he should realize your career is over. You've had a great run. Take off.
And that's the problem.
This really gets at it. Look at that.
All right, so here, this is the guy on CNN, Harry something. And Harry's going to drop some information here regarding how much X is chopped away from mainstream media. And I think this is even light. But listen to this.
It's the party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%.
Now, what this guy isn't going to tell you, and those of you who are new to Twitter X may not realize, but something happened in about that time frame. Something huge, seismic happened. Yeah, Elon Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X. You know what? I didn't even look. Let me Google that. When did Elon buy Twitter? Because I'm surprising he didn't have that up. Oh. Elon bought Twitter on April 14th, 2022. You think that had something to do with it? As you're looking at those numbers, in 2022, 65% of the people who used X, or back then it was called Twitter, were Democrats. We knew because you kicked us all off. We couldn't talk. If we said anything, we'd get spanked. Robin, my wife, got booted off of Twitter back then. Never got her handle back. Many of you got booted off. So only 31% of us got our information from Twitter because we all got booted off. And then 2022, April 14th comes, and look at what happened. It evened up. So when Democrats and people tell you that Twitter has turned into a cesspool and it's toxic, what they really mean is it became equitable. You see, oppressors don't feel like people don't feel like they're oppressed until they feel equality. That's what tyrants have a problem with. It's fine when we're the ones dictating what is said, but now that we can't dictate what is said, it is toxic. Meanwhile, you can see it right there. That's an amazing change. 16 points up for Republicans and 17 points down for Democrats. Again, Harry, CNN, why are you showing them this data on November 20th? Where was the data for Kamala's campaign on October 15th? Why didn't you tell her, hey, listen, nobody's listening to us. You might want to look at doing something on X. I'll tell you why. Because they wanted the money. They sold her out. They didn't care as long as she was spending those 6 and 7-figure checks. They weren't going to tell her. Don't tell anybody. I told you. You can see. You should see what's going on over here. You should see all the information that they're telling, that we can see that they're not telling you on television. We knew. All of us knew.
I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better.
Far better. OMG. That's all they have at this point. They can't figure out what to do, and worse, how to do it. I mean, they're in that much of a quandary at this point, and it's not going to change. And the reason why I know it's not going to change, as I queue up the next one, is because they haven't done anything about their bench. I mentioned bench, and Ashley said some people didn't know what I meant when I said bench. Bench means when you see the players on the field, those are the guys who are playing now. Eventually they're going to get hurt or retire, and you better have people sitting on the bench ready to come and be the next unit. The people are going to be the stars. There's always a next guy that needs to step up. LeBron's going to go retire, and somebody better step up. I hope he retires soon. There's always, you got to have somebody who can step up and be that person. They don't have a bench. And now all of their post-mortems, all of their autopsies that they're doing on the election, and this is data that they had during the candidacy. This isn't anything new. You're getting the end result, but all this data because I was telling it to you. See, I don't have the benefit of MSNBC's data analyst department. I don't have all of the guys who are sitting down and pulling strategy and everything else. I got my reports, and I have certain places I go to get data, and I kept looking at it. And I kept telling you, something's wrong here. Oh, Trump's going to win in a landslide. I could see it. I would show it to you. You guys remember. Hey, look, oh, there's something wrong here. They had it too. They just lied to her, and they lied to their audience. So now they're trying to make nice.
I think men are better than they think they are. However, messaging has just gotten out of control from both sides. You take a look at the fact that across the board, didn't matter what race they are, males turned towards Donald Trump, turned away from the Democratic Party. And why? That's the real question that should be asked. Why? Because in so many ways, the party basically dismissed him, left him out of the conversation, and not until the very end decided, oh, I better reach out and see if these guys are.
So Kamala's pimp here is talking about why men weren't excited about voting for Kamala. The guy who, used to play with her and the other girl and, just walk around with both of them, hitting both of these tonight. Yeah, both them. Is wondering why masculine men didn't want to hear 24/7 that we were toxic, didn't want to hear 24/7 about baby removal, and you're wondering why men said, you can have that. Because we know you're lying, Montel, because we seen you. We saw you with Kamala and the other girl going, yeah, this is who I'm with tonight. So why was it okay for you to be a masculine, virile, testosterone-laden man back then, but then you backed the party who said that men couldn't be? They were soy boys. You had the white dudes for Harris running around. Now you're wondering what happened to men? No, you knew. You just lied. And now you're trying to figure out and tell them, hey, you need to change this next time. There won't be a next time. You see, people are, that loyalty that the Democrats had, you blew it. Whatever candidate they end up getting is going to have to change so much that it won't be a Democrat. Understand that. There's a reason why these people aren't changing their ideology, why they're not changing their approach, why they're not changing their message, because they believe the shit that they're saying. And they're stuck because they can't believe that you people didn't buy it. What do you mean you don't understand what toxic masculinity is? Nope. I've been a man for quite a few years, and I'm not toxic.
We're talking to. Yeah. And if you just look at the fact that we have nobody, I think, in this country right now, the majority of people, believe in an equal playing field where everybody gets to participate and play. But when you start shoving certain things down people's throats that they don't want to have to eat, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of forcing somebody to do something that they didn't want to do.
No, if you have to deal with the consequences of trying to force something down people's throat, you didn't find that out on November 20th. People were telling you, hey man, enough with this. We don't want this craziness anymore. We do not want RuPaul's drag show 24/7 in every church and school. We don't want it. We don't want you telling us that we got to act a certain way, otherwise we don't get to play. No, we're men. And as I've talked to many of you and also my wife, the women wanted men, not substitutes.
There's the messaging toward men that Trump was doing, and then there was the messaging toward women that the Harris-Biden campaign were doing. I remember sitting at the Democratic convention and looking after 3 or 4 days and saying, not a whole lot of men on this program. And that's intentional because they thought this was going to be an abortion election, but was that a misstep?
Notice she gave the time frame when she noticed it. I noticed it at the convention that there weren't any men here on the roster. It's all women talking about women stuff. Is that smart? No, you just shut up and took the check, though, didn't you?
I think that abortion being the top issue was obviously a misstep because we saw that it didn't actually bring out
you don't say
the women that they expected either. But I would argue that from the onset, the polling showed that there were stark divisions between what men valued and what women valued, which isn't actually surprising across this country. But the economy was something that everybody valued. The way
let me ask you a question. Those of you who are married, those of you who have boyfriends, did you need a poll to know what your husband or your wife need? I mean, seriously, I know if I walk out there and talk to Robin, who I've been married to for 33 years, I know exactly what he wants. There's no poll needed. See, the problem wasn't the fact of the polling data. We all know that was BS anyway. The problem was that the fact that you needed a poll. The fact that you were talking to women who didn't have interpersonal relationships with men who played on that team instead of this team who had no clue what interpersonal ideas they could garner just from being around men. That was your mistake. You don't need a poll. I know exactly what she wants. I know she wants security. Number one. That's the number one thing she wants. Provisions. Take care of me, which I guess is sort of like security. And she wants companionship. Most every woman that's probably watching this goes, yeah, that's pretty much what I want from a man. And every man says, what do you want? Well, I don't want to be yelled at like an angry you-know-what Kamala was showing. I want to make sure of the same companionship. And we're simple creatures. Just leave us alone. Throw us some meat every once in a while. Wave to us. You'll have a happy life. We don't want much. I got a little bit of toys. I got a car. Most guys will not. Yeah, I don't need much. I need a remote with the batteries. Yeah. We're easy. We're not toxic. We are really easy. And every once in a while, we'll tap you on the shoulder at night. Other than that, that's all we want. We're like a dog. We want to sleep, we want to eat, we want to play. And then after that, we go back to sleep. Just repeat. Guys, you with me? Some may go hunt, some may go fishing, but for the most part, we're pretty easy. The reason why people who can stay together for like 30 and 40 years is because they realize at some point, I can't push what I want on him, and he can't push what I want on me. Now that we got that straight after like 9 years, can we just live together and be happy? Yeah, I'm good with that. So you're going to go ahead and watch, what's that thing, Downton Abbey reruns? Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm going to go ahead over here, right? And she's going to say to me, you're going to watch Law and Order and SVU and reruns of that stuff and, Tulsa King. Yeah. And then she's going to go bounce. But we respect each other because we've learned what women and men want. I spent a lot of time on this because it's just amazing to me that people said, we need to run a poll. And the poll would tell us what men really want. Ooh, how detached must you be?
This message, I think, was problematic. But in addition to that, looking at the psychological aspect of things, men have felt left out for quite some time, be it whether it was social groups, be it whether it was, leading to depressive states or other things. They've been very vocal about that. That existed long before the pandemic. I do think that there needed to be stronger outreach to men and men of all backgrounds. But in addition to that, there needed to be more men at the helm of the decision-making process on the campaign. A campaign that is run by a lot of women is probably not going to be the same campaign that can speak to men.
Yes, they're telling you this after she spent $1 billion. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. That none of these people spoke up. Black women, 2 of them, sitting right there. You got 3 black people on the screen. You got 2 black women and me. And I'm pretty sure I could tell you what they're like, and they could pretty much tell you what I'm like. But no, Kamala didn't know.
I'm glad that we have this
to be fair,
circle here
both
because
Trump
it matters.
and Harris's campaign were run by a mixture of men and women. I'm not sure. I think it's just about a theory of the case.
But no,
right?
a lot of the messaging strategies that were developed to men were developed to men by white women. And
There's another adjective in there. We all know there's another adjective that she didn't layer. She said most of the messaging for Kamala was made by white women. There's another layer there. There's a whole another layer there. You know what I'm talking about. I can't really say here, but you know what those white women were, don't you? You know, the white women who really didn't really care for men. If you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Except in a political campaign when you're missing the entire half of a demographic. That's when it gets really, really kind of squirrely, doesn't it?
I think that is a problem.
Interesting. Find this interesting, Scott Galloway, who has a podcast, many podcasts, but he's working on a book about what's going on with men in the country. He writes this: young American men are in a crisis of underemployment, under-socialization. Soaring college costs affect people regardless of their gender, but manufacturing jobs, once a ticket to the middle class for men without college degrees, have been offshored. Housing is increasingly unaffordable. Men are stuck. They are isolated, despairing, and unproductive, prone to obesity, drug addiction, and suicide, susceptible to misogyny, conspiracy theories, and radicalization. They make inadequate mates, employees, and citizens.
What men are prone to, susceptible to misogyny, conspiracy theories, and radicalization, and suicide? None of the guys I know. You see, one of the problems that the media has, that the signals I look at, that really dictate moving forward what the Democrats' big problem is they just got butt stomped. These people are sitting around the table admitting, hey, things didn't work out, we had the wrong messaging. But then you look to these guys, whoever this dude is that wrote this testosterone election, and you start quoting the same people who got you in trouble in the first place. Look, many men are stuck, isolated, despaired, unproductive, prone to obesity. Don't say nothing. Drug addiction, suicide, susceptible to misogyny, conspiracy theories, radicalization. They make inadequate mates, employees, and citizens. Here's your first hint, CNN, if you wanted to hire me as a strategist. Burn your Rolodex. Burn it. You're looking for advice from the same people who got you into the problem you're in right now. What in the hell is he talking about? You can't go to people who don't know what men want. I don't know anybody who fits in this drug-addicted, suicidal, susceptible to misogyny, conspiracy, radicalization. You are talking to the same morons who got your ass kicked on November 5th. Lose my number. I never want to hear you again. I don't want to read any of your articles. I want nothing to do with you. Go away. We need an entire new bench. Until you, watching from home, until you see different faces on the sets, until you see different analysts being called, feel comfortable that these guys are in for a big, huge defeat in 2026 and 2028. They can't figure it out, and as the first guy said during the Morning Joe segment, they don't even know how to. They've been stuck in Washington and New York for so long that their entire Rolodex is made up of basically the same people. They can't fix it. You cannot fix it by going back to the same people and reading the same stupid articles. This guy has a podcast. I bet you nobody's watching. And if they're watching, it's soy boys. There's not a man out here that wants them misogyny. I don't think most men know what misogyny means. Oh, you're being a misogynist. What's that mean? Is it something to do with sausage or something? With massage? It's like misogyny? No, we don't care. That's not a word that men use to describe themselves. They may hear it from a woman. Oh, you hate women. What do you mean? I've been married for 33 years. I got 5 sisters. I got a daughter. I got 2 granddaughters. What do you mean I'm a misogynist? Those are words that the left uses to categorize people they don't like. And you're quoting this guy on the air. But by all means, please continue.
It's a pretty dire picture that he paints there. And it seems what he's saying is that Trump spoke to that.
Well, I agree. First of all, I agree with most of everything that's been said here already. I agree with some of this assessment. I do think we have a crisis of especially young men in this country. And they're, in many ways, disconnected from the rest of their families, disconnected from their communities, disconnected from our political culture, disconnected from our civil culture. And that's a real problem for a society that depends on all of us to be engaged and working together to make it.
If there are so many disassociated men running around out there, why is it that you can walk into a UFC fight and see a packed house? Why is it that even though the fight sucked, so many people, mostly men, tuned in to watch Jake Paul and Mike Tyson pretend to be fighting? Why is it that Joe Rogan has the biggest podcast out there? Why is it that Theo Vaughn or Aiden Ross, and I'm not even getting down to the political guys yet, why is it that these people have enormous audiences if there are so many disassociated men? Makes no sense.
As good of a country and as good of a society as it can be. I think the Democrats in this election made men feel like that the patriarchy is over, boys, and we're going to put you in the back seat for a while, and you're just going to have to accept it, without any thought to the ramifications of telling people who are out honestly trying to make a living, provide for their families, be good husbands, be good fathers. When you tell people who are doing their level best that either A, it's not good enough, or B, you're part of the problem, what do you expect? And then finally, as a political tactic, the attempt to put walls on the ticket, and that was going to somehow solve all of the problems that had been built up for years.
Oh, he's hitting on something there. So you realize that, we got a problem with men here. So let's go ahead and get Tim Walz. Tim Walz will really bring in the guys. Quick second. All you did is made men run. Like, what is that? And what is this stuff about horse milkshakes? Even if you didn't do it, Tim, you should have came out strongly, as most men would do. Most men would be like, hell no, I didn't do that. Well, don't even address it. It's not significant. Yeah, I bet you found that out was wrong, huh?
It was ridiculous because it turns out Walz was the last person that men wanted to hear from. And I remember at the beginning of that whole campaign when they put him on, I sat right here And people are like, oh, they got camouflaged hats. They're going to be wearing them in the deer stands this fall. And I think to your point that you just made, that was not, that idea that it was not formulated by a bunch of dudes who actually go deer hunting. It was come up with by a bunch of people who've never met a dude that actually goes deer hunting. But when you try to put that kind of window dressing on a real communications problem or a real relationship problem, it gets exposed immediately.
Essentially, that they feared retribution, and that's partly...
You can't make this up. I mean, you really can't. Scott Jennings, who's a Republican or conservative on the panel here, and he's like, you took these camouflage hats, and you had him go out there, and anyone who's ever fired or carried a weapon realized that Tim Walz had no idea what he was doing with that shotgun in his hand. So right away, before anything came out of his mouth, we're like, this is ridiculous. Elmer Fudd's out here. And you thought that that's what got... You would have done better by putting him on a basketball court and having him missing shots. At least people say he can't shoot, the basketball, rather than try to tell guys who have hunted that this dude's a hunter. I mean, you got found out as soon as you probably got out the truck. So now we got the Mr. Potato Head here, and now he's going to try and tell you what we need to do moving forward.
Why they sought out this meeting.
What kind of retribution are we talking about here?
I think there's a wide spectrum. And to be fair to Brzezinski and Scarborough, they're not the only MSNBC hosts or the only, the word journalist is complicated, right, because they're more like personalities. But there are a number of journalists at places like the AP and other big news outlets that are concerned about retaliation in the coming months. Anything from IRS audits to lawsuits and things like that. There are media...
You mean like normal people have had to deal with over the last couple of years?
Outlets bulking up on lawyers, thinking about having more libel insurance, those sorts of things. Now, I don't know exactly what the specific concern Joe Amica had was or wasn't, but they're not the only MSNBC personalities worried about retaliation. However, they are the only ones to go down to Mar-a-Lago and have a meeting.
Yeah, Scott, you were shaking your head.
I mean, isn't it possible, too, that they're just two people who are so full of themselves, so full of self-aggrandizement, that they would feel like that they would be personally singled out?
Don't tell anyone, but some of their colleagues feel that way.
Well, first of all, I can see why. Second of all, if that's what happened and if that's what they truly believed, why didn't they go on TV and say that? We went down there to meet with the president to tell him that, hey, anyone who's been critical of you, you should treat us like journalists and not like the enemy. They didn't go on TV and say that. They went on TV and portrayed it much differently. So what I hear you saying in your reporting is they had a motive that they weren't willing to disclose to their audience, which I think should get...
Exactly. They lied. They're like, hey, man, we need to go make nice with Trump. Let all these other idiots here on MSNBC go down with the ship. We like our checks. Let's go down there.
And more scorn today than they were already getting to begin with.
So I got two more little pieces here, and then I'll take some comments. But it's hilarious. It's hilarious what's going on here. This is why I'm telling you. And I was right about the landslide, and I was right about the black vote, and I was right about the Hispanic vote. I know marketing. Not here to also just basically toot my horn, but I know if you can't address what is wrong, you can't fix it. And right now, these people don't want to admit. They can't look in the mirror and say, we suck. It's that simple. Nobody wants to hear what we have to say. Our credibility is shot. Trump broke us. He took us and just snapped us in half as the media, and you have no future whatsoever if you continue down the same path you're going. And what we've seen thus far is they really don't have any idea how to change, how to fix things. You can hire every consultant if you want. The consultant you need to go hire is say, hey, Joe Rogan, can I pay you 10 grand and just tell me what I should do? And go see Rogan, sit with him, and what Rogan's going to say, hey, be yourself. Don't try to act when you're on camera. Stop trying to pretend like you're on CNN. Just be yourself, which is going to eliminate most of them right there because they have no personality. Everything they've done their entire career has been scripted. Every single thing, from the time they get there to the makeup to the hair, everything has been scripted and is perfect. When I was looking up, when did Elon buy X, I stopped the show, was talking, and I was typing. Oh my God, you could never do that on television. Why not? Because everything has to be perfect. Except the problem is life isn't that way. Life isn't perfect. Your authenticity is impugned every time you try to be perfect. Every time you try to pretend as if nothing possibly could go wrong. I am a professional. How many times have I hit the mute button and I... very few. Or how many times have I sat here and the dog goes... Woof, 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 woof. It's authentic. It's not fake. I'm living a life. I'm doing this at the same time. You guys are watching. I got a wife out there. I got my daughter texting me. It's life. And Rogan would tell them, you just got to be yourself. And that would eliminate half of them right there. And then a bunch more of them could go talk to Bon Jovi, Dan Bongino. And Dan Bongino would say, hey, listen, you need to talk to your audience as if you are talking to a friend sitting next to you. Not at them, to them. Speak to them. But see, here's the problem with MSNBC and CNN. Their audience are those other 4 people sitting at the table. They don't give a shit about who's watching on television. If they did, they would understand you're coming across as pompous. You're coming across as indifferent. You could really care less if somebody clicked another station, if they channel surfed. You don't care. You don't do anything to let people know, hey man, you're welcome here. They don't even run polls. I run a poll. I give away stuff. I want you guys to enjoy yourself. I want you guys to keep coming back. I'm appreciative of it. I can't do this without you. But they don't get it. But they're gonna get it, because now you're gonna see some of them actually try to go the podcast route. Watch this. This is painful.
You can't talk broad themes. You have to boil it down to nuts and bolts. And you have...
This is Jennifer Rubin, who's always on MSNBC. And so you got to give credit where credit's due. She said, what do I got to do? I got to go get a camera, a microphone, and a light. And, I got to give this thing a shot. My career is over if I don't do this. But, well, I'll just let you hear her.
To be pithy. What do I mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids. It's actually true. If you're going to oppose vaccinations, if you're going to stop breakthrough medical research, if you're going to allow minors and all sorts of people to get semi-automatic weapons, which they use to shoot up schools, well, then you are responsible for kids' health and death, unfortunately. It has to be that simple and that direct, and it has to be over and over and over again.
Like I told you, getting the camera and the lights and stuff and the microphone, it's anybody can do that. You can go on Amazon, put the credit card in, you can order all this stuff. But they're not changing their messaging. It's full steam ahead nutty. They're saying the same thing that they would have said on CNN. Republicans want to kill kids. Said no Republican I know ever. But they're just going to keep saying this stuff. Funny, they can say stuff without people clicking the button going, oh, no, you're off. You can't say that. If I were to say that about Democrats, and I would repeat that, like she said, over and over, because what you need to do is repeat it over and over. If I were to do that, it would be blip, gone, see ya. But she can say it. That's one of the things that has to change. But number 2 is, again, the messaging has not changed. She is just saying the same thing that she said on television anytime you saw her. But now they have a much bigger problem. You're talking about influencers. You're talking about people who might be able to convince people to do something or not. Well, I want you to see a big fan of MSNBC and how she reacted to Morning Joe and Mika going to see Trump.
So Mika and Joe went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. It's the last time I ever watched Morning Joe. Period. End of statement. Unreal. Unreal. For months, you were telling us he's the worst thing that could happen to this country and democracy. And then you go kiss his ring? Despicable. Despicable you, both of you.
Now that guy, oh, it's not a guy. That's Rosie O'Donnell, in case you guys didn't know. I didn't know that. Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell's pissed that they went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring. Pissed. I hate you. I hate your guts. These people ain't ever coming back. See, when I make a statement, I try to tell you why I really feel the way I do. And I can sit back and look at these things because that's what I do. I have to pull clips and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're in big, big, big trouble. You don't get people like her and Stephen King and Mark Hamill and even Peter Frampton. You don't get those people back anymore. You've completely, talked about radicalized, you've completely brainwashed these people. They believed everything you said, and now they can't understand the picture of you going down and kissing the ring. So now you become the enemy. You are now just like Trump to them. So now they're going to have to gravitate to a new leader that doesn't exist, who they want the same thing to be said. So they're looking to march behind somebody like an orc who still feels the same way that Trump's Hitlerian and was it ethno-fascist and we're garbage. They need someone to carry that banner, that losing banner. There's no way they are going to come back with the ideology that they imputed to people. There's no way back. So understand at this point, Trump is winning. He has broken the media. You saw Sonny's face yesterday when she had to read that statement about Matt Gaetz. They're done. They are complete. And as they begin to get spanked like Sonny got spanked, as you see Morning Joe going, I don't know what to do, more and more people turning the dial. I can't listen to this. I need someone who's still going to talk about baby removal and Trump being a Nazi. Where are you out there? Whoever it's going to be at this point that steps up and continues talking, it might be Joy Reid, maybe she'll run for president, but they're going to need a flamethrower because anybody now moderating is the enemy. Don't even want to hear from you. What's his name? Rob Reiner. He's all pissed off because Blue Sky's got too many, they're kicking people off. It's just too bad. And then you get Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, and he's talking to you. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So let me take some of your comments here. Sonny hates everyone, and even herself. Yeah, she looks like something the cat drug in and the kittens didn't want. Oh my God, that's too funny. We heard the words and read her face. Yeah, they don't care, man. They don't care. They've awakened a sleeping giant, and people found out that they're full of it, and nobody's going back. That was one thing Kamala was right. We ain't going back. Her people ain't going back. Now what do you do? Because now they're all stuck in limbo out there, looking for the next thing to do, and you've got all these consultants that probably will get jobs on these same networks and keep doing the same thing. If you can't change, you're doomed. And I don't see how these people are going to change. And as Trump keeps moving forward and they see what he's doing, what are you going to combat? You're still talking about, deportations, and you're still talking about Matt Gaetz, and you're still talking, dude, it's over. That fight, you need to find a new fight. Oh, we're going to resist. Doing what? How do you resist when the man's got a landslide? He don't need you. There's nothing young about Cenk. Hi, everyone. I've been catching up with you guys late. Been working. Hope you're all doing great. Yeah, we are. Rob the Meathead Reiner. Joy Reid, president of the Congo. She's got to find something. You're going to read one day where they told her you got to go. Mega better someone to lead the Dems. Don't leave the spot open for the next psychopath. Oh, it's that spot's been taken. It's pretty much going to be AOC probably. I mean, they're talking that the AOC is going to be the savior at this point. Is it true that Kimmel said some slanderous stuff about Gates on his show? Wonder if he'll have to issue an apology. I would think ABC, which Disney owns ABC, if they made Sonny say that, you may see them begin to clamp down on, I think Kimmel's show is on ABC. The other guy's on NBC. So you might really start, you might see it change very quickly. Matt Gaetz is the most important nominee that we need in the last 100 years. I agree with that. All knees will bend. It takes 28 days to break a habit. All right, so we're only at day 15, so we're gonna give them 13 more days to start coming around. What rock did she cross? Trump broke her a long time ago. Trump took Rosie O'Donnell, broke her and threw her in the woods 4 or 5 years ago. The spew is going to disappear probably. See, if they were smart, they would go and look at some old Rush Limbaugh videos. Like I said, I study Rush. I watch maybe 1 or 2 shows, maybe 3 shows a week. And Rush had said, if you know what you're doing and you can do it regardless of which candidate wins. There's always going to be something to talk about. You just have to shift your complete focus on what you're going to be doing. So what they should be doing, or somebody, I don't want to give them the idea, they should be doing, basically talking about 2026 and what we need to do to change. Start analyzing, okay, here's what went wrong, and begin saying, here's what we need to do. But nobody's going to do that because they can't speak against the family. They're just going to continue to be idiots. That's their downfall. That is absolutely their downfall. All right, let's get to this thing. This is about Matt Gaetz. I want you to hear this really good.
I would like.
So here, back in 1963, when John F. Kennedy became president, he was a Democrat, and JFK wanted somebody he could trust. He wanted a loyalist. He understood where he wanted to go. He understood the different things he needed to do to get there. He, and obviously his brother, knew that they were going to make a crap load of enemies with what his plan was. And obviously, looking back on history, we now know that those plans that he had and what he wanted to do cost them both their lives. Those two guys were seen the entire time I was growing up as the standard for the Democrat Party. And those two guys right now could never even survive a primary in today's Democrat Party. Because it's changed so much. It's gone. They've gone so far off the rails. Remember the big quote: "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." No Democrat politician would ever use that as a slogan these days. Never. Never, 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 never. They could never let that be the credo for which they wanted to govern under. And so these two guys, who were just brothers, and RFK was never an attorney in terms of prosecutorial or working in that. That's his brother. He wanted his brother. So there is a huge precedent for somebody with really no experience in the position to take that position. Trump knows that. He was good friends with JFK Jr. He knows the entirety of that history. This is not new territory. None whatsoever. Trump wants a loyalist, and the Democrats are trying to paint loyalty as a bad thing. I'm telling you right now, whenever I've gotten to a pinch, I want somebody there who's got my back, who I know has got my back, who will do anything to make sure that my back is secure. They're watching my six. I'm pretty sure most of you, if you got into a pinch, want somebody there who you can depend upon. You know, some of us, that's our spouse as well. Thick or thin, if Robin says we got it, this is what we got it, we're going to do it. We are going to do it. So it's not odd that Trump wants a loyalist. It's odd that you would think that he didn't want a loyalist. He already went through 2016 and found out what happens when you don't have loyalty. Don't ever let somebody trick you into thinking that loyalty is bad. I hope you have loyalty with your spouse. I hope you have loyalty with your family, especially your kids. You want the people who are going to protect your interests the strongest to have your back. There is nothing wrong with that. That is a communist, anti-American approach to say you shouldn't have loyalty. Why not? Tell me why I shouldn't have loyalty. I'm in the biggest position in the country. I am the president. I am the general. And you're telling me I can't surround myself with people who are going to be loyal to me? Are you effing kidding me? That is the most loyal people I want. We found out what happens when you don't have that. And Trump ain't going to mess around and have that happen again. And so now you're seeing different people out there posturing like Lisa Murkowski. I want you to hear this.
To see our committees do their full job. I'm not interested in a process that would just say, well, because the president has named him and you have Republican chairs coming into the new Congress, that we just move people out. There needs to be legitimate vetting. When I say legitimate, I mean just thorough vetting that the committees do. This is our job.
But don't I have a question for each of you. Do you guys remember how Lisa Murkowski got into office? I mean, I know it's a long time ago, but let me tell you, her father was governor. There was an opening for a senator. He appointed her. That's how she got into the Senate. These people are so hypocritical, it's not funny. This woman is only where she is because her father appointed her. And yet, Matt Gaetz, oh my God, we've got to go through and do all this vetting. You know what vetting Matt Gaetz has? Matt Gaetz has the vetting of the people who voted for him, put him in office, and B, the guy who picked him. He doesn't need you out there questioning him. Doesn't need you up there saying, well, is it true that, 8 years ago, there's rumor that you slept with this girl or something? Because I'd look right back. They wouldn't want me. I'd look right back at her and go, what are you, jealous? Ooh, I just want to see her head explode. These people pontificate and say these things because they're not ballsy enough to get up there and take the arrows. So, hey, Senator Murkowski, yeah. So what skeletons do you have in your closet? Should we look at see what you've done? Because you went after Trump, now you're going to go after Matt Gaetz, and I don't know who you were banging, Lisa. You don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And I would just I understand the decorum of Congress, but to me, if you're going to accuse me of something, you better be ready for the blowback. You better be ready for me to tell you something about yourself, which I'm sure at this point, Trump may know. Speaking of hypocrites,
the person who becomes our Attorney General has to have credibility as they go after counterterrorism cases, as they go after money laundering, as they go after public corruption. The public needs to know when they investigate and indict somebody that it has the weight of the United States government and the people behind it. And if that person has all of these storm clouds hanging over them and we think, okay, you had, your dirty laundry hidden by your buddies in Congress, the American people won't take it seriously. And then we start to look like other countries where you don't have faith in the people who lead us, like China, like Russia.
So I'm just wondering here, Swalwell, yeah, when you were hanging out with the Chinese spy, how did you get to keep your job? Because the American people look at you as smarmy, and that you were, with the Fanfare and all that stuff that was going on. How did you keep your job in California? The American people would like to know. I want to. I'm sure there's people here would love to know how you were, hanging out with the Chinese spy and you got off scot-free. Not a single reprimand? No charges? Nothing? Nobody checked your phone to see what was going on back and forth with Fanfare the spy? Nobody came into your house and did a raid? None of that? But you expect the American people to have a problem with Matt Gates. These people they're simply amazing.
Former CIA officer, I worked undercover for my time with the agency as a case officer. And case officers throughout the world currently are out there recruiting foreign individuals to provide information to the United States government, to provide information that helps inform our policymakers, our military leaders, our diplomats, and ultimately the president. And that's when we talk about sources and methods, right? The sources and methods are the means by which we know certain things, whether that's the person who's reporting that information in some far off country, whether it's technologies that might be at play. And so not only is it vitally important that we have a clear understanding that every person with access to classified information, and especially the DNI, protects the classified information that is collected, but also that they protect and understand how sensitive sometimes our means of gathering that information is, the sources and methods.
How about Brennan and Clapper and those guys that made up stuff about Trump? How about, the whole dossier, all that stuff? See, the only way these networks can exist is if you have amnesia. The only possible way they can continue with their ideology and their BS is to make sure, or hope to make sure, that the people listening to them don't remember anything. There's no possible way you can go on television and talk the way that you do about Tulsi Gabbard or Matt Gates without simply turning your head and going, well, what did you guys do with, this dossier that was fake? Or the 51 people who said the laptop was fake? It's only now that you're concerned. What are you concerned about now? Since you said you worked there, you've admitted to the American people, I used to work there, so you didn't stand up and say anything about that dossier. You didn't say anything about Strzok and Page and what they were saying and what they were doing. You didn't say anything about Hillary and all the stuff that she was doing. Nothing. But now Tulsi Gabbard is the threat. Not Brennan, not Clapper. Tulsi Gabbard is the threat. What kind of two-facedness do you have to be to sit up there and say this stuff?
And the DNI is the person who sees everything. They know every capability. They know the information that we do or do not have, the information that is or isn't informing our decisions. And frankly, the reason that this nomination, I think, is so dangerous is because any damage that she would do, any information she would provide the president, right? She tweets Russian propaganda. Why not?
She does? I've looked at her tweet. I don't see it.
Not included in the presidential daily brief. She traffics in conspiracy theories. Why not kind of push that into the greater ecosystem of intelligence? And none of that would ever be seen by the public. There's no opportunity to push back. There's no opportunity to understand. And frankly, even just a lack of understanding of and respect for how it is that the intelligence community works.
This is what I'm trying to tell you today. Trump has broken these people. And he's broken them to the point where they don't have any other options. They don't have any other playbook. All they have is the same stuff over and over again. She's a Russian asset. He's a Russian asset. Oh, he's, does this and he does that. Nothing. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine going through what you just went through, knowing that it didn't work at all. Nothing that you did worked. Nothing that you did assuaded or persuaded anybody on the right not to vote for Trump. He won in a landslide. So a prudent person would understand, who the hell are you talking to? The nuts that you're talking to while you're saying this stuff are losing, basically have lost credibility with you. They're like, I don't want to hear anymore about Russian propaganda. I don't want to hear about the Russians are coming. You lied. I don't want to hear about Hitler. I don't want to. Done. Zip it. Forget it. Even George Clooney goes, oh, heck with y'all. Don't care. But for some reason, all they can do is get back on television and keep talking about it. If you're such or so worried, why don't you come up with a plan on how to fix something? I could not imagine, if I had the resources of a television network, what kind of show, what kind of guests we could bring on that could basically talk positively about what we're going to do in the future. How are we going to move forward? What are we going to do? Okay, ready? Let's discuss this. Jen Psaki can bring the same woman on and say, okay, what are we going to do for 2026? Because that's only 2 years away. We're getting into the holiday season. Pretty much things are going to shut down over the next couple of weeks. You're going to fight. You're going to come out saying the exact same stuff. You wouldn't know that the campaigns are over. You'd think is the election next week? Because you're saying the same shit over and over.
Could really, truly undermine not just our ability to collect information, but our ability to work with partner nations where information exchanges keep us safe.
Yeah.
There could be long-term damage to capabilities and methods that we use, from whatever point in time, if she were to be confirmed, into the future, and virtually, very few people would know. And so the damage could just be catastrophic for our nation's own national security. And this isn't.
Okay, so let me tell you about some, catastrophic information, because this catastrophic information is pretty much something that, let's discuss it. Look, how about this catastrophic information? Russian President Putin is open to discussing a ceasefire with Ukraine if the negotiations are led by President-elect Donald Trump. Putin has ruled out any significant territorial concessions and demands that Ukraine abandon its NATO membership ambitions. So, I only want to talk to him. Screw Biden and Kamala. And don't send this dude Anthony Blinken over here anymore either. We got nothing to do with him. And then someone else posted this, Glenn Greenwald. If Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset, why has the U.S. military allowed her to serve in it for 26 years, up to and including today as a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve? It's rather difficult to explain that, except with the conclusion that the accusation is utter, baseless BS. You see, we're on X now, baby. We're out there. We're calling your bluff. We're letting people see the truths, not the BSs that you're saying on these shows. And you got the Vlad saying, I'll negotiate with him. We'll figure something out. We'll get this war over quickly, as Trump has been saying. But no, you just want to talk about Tulsi being, a Russian asset.
Political. It's not a partisan issue. It's not about party or the president-elect. It's about our national security.
A majority of voters decided that the America First agenda championed by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is the playbook for American greatness. As a part of that playbook, President Trump has already put together a very strong list of qualified cabinet members. At defense, he's tapped Pete Hegseth, a veteran who served 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, is an Ivy League educated businessman background. That's what we need in the Pentagon right now to restore order in our finances. At HHS, he's assigned Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has single-handedly brought attention to the many public health crises facing Americans. He's Harvard educated.
This is Tommy Tuberville.
Authored multiple books and has a 4-decade career in public health and environmental law. And an attorney general. He's nominated Matt Gates, a qualified attorney who has served in Congress for nearly a decade. Matt Gates has been a warrior for the Constitution on the Judiciary Committee and has exposed the weaponization of the justice system of the DOJ.
Something he just said. He was on these committees. So he's already seen top secret information. It's already there. Again, it exposes these people as complete liars.
DOJ. Ask yourself, why are my Democratic colleagues, the media, and the establishment losing their minds over these highly qualified nominees? It's because of the dislike of President Trump, the American First agenda, and nearly 80 million Americans who voted to send him back to the White House. It's obvious. Panic has set in at the DOJ, the intelligence community, and the entire D.C. swamp.
I just want to know, and hopefully we're going to find out soon, why are they panicking? What are people going to uncover that has these people losing their minds? I think it has more to do with what, DOJ is going to find out than what Matt is going to find out, because I think it's the money. I'm pretty sure we're going to uncover a grift like nothing you've ever seen. Matt Gates can't do anything until a crime has been shown to be committed. And Matt Gates isn't going to be the forensics guy. Matt Gates just can't decide to go prosecute somebody. You got to have evidence of a crime. That evidence that you need, somebody else is digging into. So when Vivek and Elon start digging in and really closing in on this stuff, it is going to be them who decides, hey, I think you got a problem here. I think you might want to look at this. This doesn't look right. Then Matt Gates can step in. Matt Gates isn't in charge of Vivek and Elon. That's how Trump set it up. They are separate. So all the freaking out that they're doing, you just can't, nobody in your town, your state's attorney can't just decide, hey, let me look into John Smith. No, that's not how it works. You just can't start digging. Somebody has to come to the prosecutor with a possible crime. See, everything that they've been saying in the media, they keep forgetting that part. Matt Gates can't just go look at such and such person. Nothing in the media. Nobody. There has to have been a crime somewhere. See, he's not going to do what Alvin Bragg did and try to find something to charge somebody with. There's going to be enough there that actually are crimes. They know they've committed the crimes. That's why they're freaking out. They're just trying to figure who's going to be the one who's going to find it.
They're finding out, as Barack Obama said, that elections have consequences.
The 5 folks that you just talked about, no more or less important than the rest of the cabinet from President Trump's worldview. But these guys, these men and women are on the knife's edge. They are the ones that the left and the mainstream media desperately wants to attack and defeat. At all costs. Matt Gates, in my opinion, our single most important person that we must support at all costs. He is going to get in.
Hold it, Dave. Hold it, Bossy. Hang on. You've been up here a while and you know how to do it. Why is Gates? Tuberville's just in here a moment ago. I know you didn't talk to Coach. He said the exact same thing. He said, "Hey, they're all important and we're getting them all." But he says, Gates, we must not back off of. Why are you saying that, sir?
The single most important appointment that President Trump has announced thus far. And that is because Matt Gaetz is Steve, it's what we have been talking about for years. He is not in theory a change agent. He is the change agent. He is somebody that is going to come into the Department of Justice, somebody who has been the victim of the Department of Justice, somebody who understands it from your average citizen. Because as Donald Trump said, they're not coming for me, they're coming for you. I'm just in the way. Well, Matt Gaetz is one of the guys who has seen it with his own eyes, whether it's his constituents, whether it is other members of Congress, whether it's himself, whether it is the Trump team. He has seen what the weaponization of government has done firsthand. He is going to tear it out by its roots. That's why they will fight him.
Nobody should be disqualified.
That is the absolute truth. I cut it off. Let me. This is like 13 seconds. This is Lindsey Graham, who basically is putting a punctuation. So he's had the talking to as well.
Because of a media report.
It's an investigation.
Investigated by the department he wants to lead.
Bipartisan ethics investigation.
And they didn't proceed forward.
So the reporters are there like sharks in blood, and they're like, "Hey, there's all this dirt about Matt Gaetz. You guys can't ignore it because there's so much stuff about Matt Gaetz." And the Department of Justice didn't pursue it. It's already been investigated. It's already been looked into deeply. So if the Department of Justice didn't find anything to go after Matt Gaetz with, which you know and I know, if they found something about Matt Gaetz, they would have went after him. Why didn't they? There's nothing there. So this stuff about Murkowski and all these people saying we got to have this hearing and we got to vet. Well, here's the file. It's already been looked at. It already came back as, it's not there. There's no fire. It's all smoke. It's all BS. So Trump knows this. Obviously, Matt Gaetz knows it. They don't have anywhere to go. I wanted to show you this about the media and why they are so much in a problem, or having such a problem. From Puck News, a bracing new poll for the Democrats. Voters so far approve of the Trump transition. The GOP is now more popular than the Democrat Party. Most Dems want to move past Kamala. Podcasts boosted Trump. And this one's huge. Only 12% of voters pay for news. Only 12% of voters pay for news. So when the Washington Post and the New York Times and all Miami Herald, when every one of these news websites, it has a paywall up, and they expect people to pay to see their articles. When X is the number one source and YouTube and everything, you're trying to tell me that you expect voters to pay for your crap. They can't compete. They can't compete. And then you get guys like Frank Luntz who just don't want to hear it, and they try to make up excuses. Only 12% of voters pay for news. Keep this in mind when you're wondering why misinformation spreads so rapidly while the articles and posts that debunk it can't seem to make a dent. That ain't gonna work either, man. You can't keep saying you guys are the gatekeepers. They're learning nothing. There is nothing that they are able. I mean, when I say nothing, I'm trying to show you there is no change that these people are even capable of making at this point. They are stuck in an ideology that doesn't work, and they don't know what to do. And frankly, they're not capable of making the change that's needed. And meanwhile, the Trump train is just moving. It's just moving. Sean Hannity posted this. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOJ, wants all federal workers back in the office on day one. You wouldn't think that taking your ass to the office was a big deal. Except for the fact CNN has an article filled with federal employees whining about how they will quit if they are forced to go into an office. Okay. The stress would be through the roof. I'm at the point where if I had to commute, I would resign. I would take this as a sign to move on and start a new chapter in my life. Imagine writing that knowing so many Americans can see that. So you're getting paid to go to a $100,000 a year job in Washington. And you're saying that the stress of the commute would make your nipples hurt, and so you'd rather quit. When you've got people in Appalachia, when you've got people in certain areas of the country who don't make nearly that kind of money, who don't have nearly that kind of perks, and you're telling them, because you may have to go to the office, you're going to quit. There are people out here, and I'm sure you know some, who drive an hour each way for a job. For a job they don't really like. Because they have to. They have to do it to feed their families. And you get these snowflakes up there who are like, if I have to go to the office 5 days a week, oh my God. You understand, these people don't have to commute by car. You can take the train. You can do whatever you want. But because you chose a government job that, because of the Japandemic, sent people home, the job originally was you're supposed to, be in the office. But now you don't want to go to work. So you're going to be one of the first cuts. And I understand that there is a whole lot of them. Let me show you this. I don't want to go too long here today. I had a whole bunch of stuff to go over with you. All right, so let's look at this. This is the article that he referred to on CNN, where these snowflakes are crying their butts off. Okay, let me start here. Okay, and the title of the article is, what's this say? Happening now. Okay. Remote work crackdown. How Trump's DOJ could push federal workers to quit. Okay. Sounds like a deal. It's a no-brainer step, and many companies have done this. So why shouldn't federal employees who are paid with taxpayer dollars be required to be in the office? This thinking is this kind of mandate, coupled with moving agencies out of Washington, D.C., would cause many federal workers to voluntarily leave, helping the new Trump administration thin out the federal workforce ranks and save the government money. Sounds good to me. Ending remote work across government is being considered a potential early candidate for executive orders that members of DOJ will recommend to Trump. The source says it's definitely on the table, though it's unclear how much they believe this will save the federal government. Does it matter? Should we be paying people who aren't doing anything? Who are making TikTok videos while they're sitting at their desk? Should we be paying them? Currently, not all federal workers are required to be in the office 5 days a week. Each agency determines its own remote policy to best complete its mission. There are 1.3 million federal workers approved for telework. According to data from the Office of Personnel Management, government data shows teleworking federal workers spend 60% of their time performing work in person. What? 1.3 million workers don't come to the office? You didn't read that wrong. 1.3 million employees, your employees, don't go to the office. How do you feel about that? 1.3 million. Elon's like, the sheer magnitude and audacity of government fraud is mind-blowing. And they're just scratching the surface at this point. Vivek had posted this. It says the Treasury Department maintains a do not pay list, a DNP, that agencies are supposed to check before sending out money. The DNP screens for deaths, delinquent federal debts, and excluded contractors. But it doesn't really work that way. For example, the Small Business Administration granted over 100,000 forgivable loans to individuals who were on the DNP list, resulting in $5 billion of payments to recipients who were ineligible for it. $5 billion. All you had to do was check a list. But I guess you couldn't access it from home or something. The SBA's Inspector General recognized this and recommended the agency stop this, but the agency's current leadership rejected the proposal. Why would you reject the proposal to not send money to people who are on the not send money list? This kind of flagrant waste needs to end. So I'm going to let you just dwell on that for a second. Why you would be sending $5 billion, 100,000 forgivable loans, so basically you can just call it a grant. Why would you issue $5 billion to people who don't deserve and are not eligible for the money? And then when someone says, hey, they're not eligible, our policy says this, and you say, no, let's forget about the policy. Let's not change. Why would you continue to do that? Read that last thing again. They recommended the agency stop doing it, but the agency's leadership rejected the proposal. We want to send $5 billion to people who aren't eligible. That's what our government has been doing. No wonder these people are terrified about Donald Trump. No wonder they are terrified as to what's going on. It doesn't stop. It really doesn't stop. What did I want to go to? All right, so one thing I wanted to say in closing here, hopefully it won't destroy this video. I'm going to have to be very, 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 very delicate here. I'm going to play this. And something happened. Again, I'm going to be very delicate here. I have to be. A new congresswoman congressperson from Delaware was elected. This person from Delaware is a transformer. And a big hoopla happened because Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene said, you ain't coming in here. Ain't happening. Whatever I have to do to fight it, I'm going to fight it. And so, again, being very delicate as I discuss things here, where is it here so I can show it to you? Nancy Mace went absolutely ballistic. And she goes, Nancy Mace does not mince words with Forbes reporter who asked, where's the evidence that these transformers in the bathrooms leads to problems? Mace correctly retorts with the reporter and says, a man who wants to force his way in. See, I can't even say it. I can't even say it. That's one of the problems with this place here. A woman says, I don't want this in my bathroom. And then another woman says, I don't want this in my bathroom. You cannot force this on me. I don't agree with you. If you want to do what you do, you're free to do what you do, but you should not be forcing it on me. Something I'm sure a lot of you agree with. And I would tell you more, but I can't, even though this is on X. But basically, this transformer wanted to use their restroom. And people were like, no, 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 no. That ain't going to happen. So the Speaker of the House, Big Mike, I actually call him Little Mike, said this. And I'm hoping that this speech doesn't cause a problem with the people upstairs.
Hello, everybody. I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts.
So Mike came out and said, you know what? Nah. The Scripture tells me what I'm dictated by. I'm sorry if you don't like it. I'm sorry if you guys are all here trying to get a story. Don't know what's wrong with you people. Not going to ask. It's not important. What's important is it ain't happening here. And so Mike decided, rightly, I feel. It says, breaking, Speaker Mike Johnson has just announced that men are banned from the women's bathrooms and locker rooms in the Capitol and House office buildings. And he wrote a statement here, and I can't read it, but I'll let you guys take a look at it and read it. You see, the fact that we had to have this discussion on Capitol Hill, the fact that we had to basically put a gavel down and go, enough. The fact that the transformer had to acquiesce, which they did. This is breaking. Transformer Congressperson Sarah McBride issues new statement. I'm not here to fight about it. I will follow the rules. You could have said that 2 days ago. You could have said that 2 or 3 days ago. Because, like, you know what? That's not what this is about. I'm not going to fight. Well, you already did. You lost. You see, the problem is that you even made us have that decision. That Mike had to say that. The problem is that the reporters made this an issue. It's 2024. And we're still having a conversation, or rather, we had to have a conversation on on if it's okay to let transformers into the bathrooms. I'm going to tell you right now with a smile on my face, the fact that Mike Johnson shut it down, that Nancy Mace shut it down, that the transformer acquiesced, tells you everything you need to know about there's a new sheriff in town and things are going to get better. Already 15 days in, and somebody finally stood up and said, we're not going to have that here. It's not like it used to be. We're done with this. That, my friends, I call winning.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I got to believe you see it as well. We're only 15 days into this man's president-elect status. 15 days, 2 weeks. And already we're seeing massive changes. And I want to be one who shows you, understand where the victories are at this point. You got a media that's totally broken, who's now admitting on air, we don't know what to do. You've got media acolytes who's like, I'm not going to watch you if you're not going to trash Trump. You got transformers going, yeah, okay, I can't do that anymore. It's over. It's over. Ain't happening here no more. You have television hosts having to read hostage videos because they said something wrong. And we're only 2 weeks in, people. We're only 2 weeks in. You got Lindsey Graham going, yeah, it's going to be okay. We'll vote for Matt Gaetz. Did you imagine on November 5th that all of this would happen so quickly? That the ideology that has governed us for the last 4 or 5 years would be flipped like that? The people dancing in end zones and doing stuff. I mean, the entirety of everything has completely flipped in little under 2 weeks. Tonight, actually today, would be the 15th day. Be happy. The fight will continue. There will continue to be much more that we have to do. But at the same token, as Dan Bongino says, dear Libs, please keep this insanity going. It's working out swimmingly for you. Have a smile on your face. Understand everything that you're seeing, we are winning. Judge Merchant having to figure out what he's going to do with the lawsuit. I mean, do I do anything? Let me punt it and hold it off for a couple months. If you're on the left at this point, the only thing that bothers me about people on the left and what's happening is that Schumer is pushing through judges and the Republicans aren't showing up to vote to stop these judges. That's the only thing I'm having a problem right now. Other than that, everything is going just as planned. They can't stop this man. I mean, I'm on his page here. Let me refresh and see if there's anything happened since we've been talking. I think those of you know that Matt Whitaker is going to be the United States ambassador for NATO for however long we're going to be in NATO. So this is Matt. This was about 3 hours ago. Yeah, 6 hours ago. Matt Whitaker is going to be the ambassador to NATO. So that's good. And I just got to show you this because this is funny. The man just doesn't stop. You're going to laugh. This is too much. I'm like, what did he think? Tommy Ratcliffe, you're going to love this. Coming soon, the limited edition 45 guitar. Only 1,300 of each acoustic and electric guitars are made and personally signed. Trump came out with a guitar. Make America Great Again guitar. He's just owning these people. He's just owning these people left and right, and there's nothing they can do about it. Positivity. Yeah, dear NATO, pay up. That's probably the first thing he's going to say, pay up. AOC looks preggo. She does not shout as loud anymore. Probably. Proud of Big Little Mike. Yeah, I think we need to give him some props. Some of us, including myself, have been very hard on Mike Johnson. We thought he was a rhino, and he stood up there and said, nope, ain't happening here. Ain't going to happen. So be happy. I know some people don't like Dr. Oz, but I have one thing to say about Dr. Oz. One thing. All right, Judy, I see what you're saying. And that one thing is something I continue to say over and over and over. If Trump made the pick and you trust Trump, you got to go with it. Yeah, I mean, whatever he did in his past, whatever, you have to understand, he has obviously met with Trump. He has obviously talked to Trump. He's probably talked to the Avengers. Whatever he said convinced Trump, and Trump accepted it and like, okay, you're the guy to do this. If Trump put him in and you trust Trump, then by proxy, you need to trust Dr. Oz. That's what I keep saying every time somebody says, oh, I have a problem with this guy. I'm like, then you're not putting your loyalty into the guy that you voted for. You see, if you're loyal to the man that you voted for, then you have to be loyal to his actions until he proves not. And Johnson must have broke up with his handler. Let's see what else here. That's the only why I'm not complaining, because trust Trump. That's it. I mean, I was surprised. I was very, very surprised that he put Dr. Oz in there. But if Trump picked him, I trust Trump. I can't even argue with it because there are some reservations I had as well. And I understand you being concerned and whether you should, trust Dr. Oz. But at the same time, if you trust him and trust people around him that they're making the right decisions, then just hold your thoughts until otherwise. It's easier to be strong when you're back when they have your back speaking. Yeah, he knows he's right there. A Doge hoodie. Wow, y'all want a Doge hoodie? I might have to do that. Trump will replace anyone who fails him. Absolutely. He'll do it quick, too. He knows not going to last a long time. Plus, RFK Jr. will keep him in line. Yeah, it's got to be something in the medical side of things. Ted Nugent for Make Rock and Roll Great Again. Oh, yeah. They should do a video of Nugent shredding with that guitar. That would be awesome. Or you could hire Tommy to go down there. Yeah, he picked him for a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but he did. What did Oz do? So at one point, there was some stuff in there about Oz basically promoting the Transformer stuff. There was an old video that's going around. It's out there. I'm not saying that you can see it. But for some reason, they thought bring him in. It may have been an RFK Jr. pick. See, we don't know what RFK Jr. was promised. RFK Jr. said, "Hey, Donnie, I'll take care of this health thing, but I want my people." And Trump may have said, "All right, I trust you," and that may have been it right there. Great work, Barry. Thank you very much. What else? Would you rather have Dr. Kevorkian? Pervert Obama started this stuff with Target. Yeah, it's different. It's so different at this point. I am always disappointed. Tap you on the shoulder at night when the show ends. Oh God, you guys crack me up. I heard that the election wasn't a landslide due to counting now. Of course they're going to try that. I think Dan Bongino was talking about that this morning, that they wanted to make it look like there wasn't a mandate, so they're cheating and doing everything they can, so it's not quite 50%. It's more like 49, 40, whatever. Doesn't matter at this point. The man got everything. He got the House, he's got the Senate, and he's got the White House. You guys can go, again, that's a perfect indication. They're fighting a battle that's already lost. There is nothing you're going to do with anything you say. There's not a single thing any of these people are going to do that's going to change anything that's happening. Just not going to happen. So they're wasting their time talking about, well, he didn't really get 50% or 51. He got like 49. But nobody cares. You're talking about going over a game film and finding out that somebody had pass interference on a play and it wasn't called. Too late. Doesn't matter. It's either a win or a loss at this point. Get over it. I want them to keep focusing on that kind of stuff. I want them to keep focusing on Trump's bad and Republicans suck. And please, keep doing it. It worked so well. Just like Dan Bongino said, it's swimmingly well, didn't it? It worked so well. Tell us we're all toxic masculinity creatures. Do it. It works well. Keep going down there. Trump can't make every one of us totally happy. Nope, and I think that's a strong point. Let's see here. Tell your friends about Barry's show. Thank you very much. All right, so let me go ahead and get to today's super chat so I can acknowledge everybody. Wait a minute. Faith Taylor says Trump had that 1,500 all numbered. Yes, they are really engraved. Interesting. I wish I still played. All right, super chat from Mountain Goddess. Many people froze and didn't stick up for themselves when called names like white supremacist, xenophobic, homophobic, etc. Many just let themselves be called that. Yeah, now swing back. Swing back hard. Joy Kirkland. I trust Trump, but unless Oz gets off or has gotten off the Oprah train. Yeah, I can understand that. I could definitely understand that. Cassandra Paquin Fine Arts. Barry, was the guitar real? Yeah, I'd love to get my 20-something Patriot son one to encourage him to stand strong as a patriot. Yeah, it's real. It's on his Truth Social page. And Marino, thank you, Barry, and your team. I would be lost without the work you do for us. God bless Nancy in Rochester. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Cassandra Paquin Fine Arts. They should be able to say, I don't feel safe. Yeah, they should say that often. It should be called out every time they're on the street. They've lied to everybody. Jose Bazil just the thought on how he obtained the milkshakes is puzzling. Those of you who don't know about the horse milkshakes, you don't want to know. You really don't. That's some dark stuff. Never denied. 1776 Viking Trump to self day one send 1.3 million pink slips. They're making it so, you don't want to come to work. Okay, then don't bother ever coming back to work. 1.3 million times at least 100,000 per person. That's a lot of money. From GD Biddy, to quit they have to return all government items, badges, phones, laptops. I didn't even think about that. Think about 1.3 million people having government phones and laptops. How much money that is. that's just sitting out there. Yeah, no wonder we have $36 trillion in debt. You ain't lying there. That's for sure. Fernando, I'm in the 56% on your poll. Have you considered doing shorts? Best regards and keeping up the great work. I did shorts. So let me tell you why I don't do them. Okay. Let's see. Only 9% say they're too long. So I guess we're doing the right thing. I tried to do shorts. So Fernando's talking about YouTube shorts. The problem with YouTube shorts, and everybody's doing them, is that I know the box of my audience. I know who you are in terms of your demographic. And then all of a sudden we may get some people in here who aren't, how can I say, part of that demographic and won't mesh well with people. So I'd like to have more of the type of people who watch. And then I figure if I'm going to get a younger group, maybe I get those on X. So that's the reasoning behind it. Plus, I really don't have time to do all that editing. Stacy Lane, explain why they cannot move them out of their seats as a mandate has occurred. We want no more endangerment to come to this country or people because they were elected. I'm sure you're talking about if they're elected, we can't just tell somebody that they got to go. 1776 Viking, we are seeing the second revolution of our nation, the destruction of the deep state, and the reinsertion of the American people in control. It scares the hell out of them. You know it does. It really does. DC Mojo, take the time you need. I search as much as I can, but found you and tune in every day. Thank you. Thank you very much. Joy Kirkland again. If the Dems did figure out what went wrong, the problem is they would still just give people lip service and just do what they want anyway. They would do enough to get elected, which is what she was doing. Bernie even said that she's just saying what she's saying to try and get elected. They knew she was full of it. You knew she was full of it. Everyone knew she was full of it. I still can't believe that she got that many votes. But then again, remember this. The votes that she got, the states that she won, were all states with no voter ID. I would love to see in my lifetime a truly fair election. Everybody has to show ID. Everybody has to make sure you get one vote. It happens, you got to count it by 8 o'clock p.m. or 10 o'clock, whatever the number is. And that's it. Make it a holiday so everybody can go vote. People would love having a day off. Bring your ID and vote. They would cease to be a party. I'm convinced of that. They would not be a party. Teresa Richards, did you watch this Spew today? I can only do. No, I didn't watch it. It's on a recording. I haven't tuned in yet. 1776 Viking, thank you. Very weird going back to the Constitution, and it feels great. It does. It really does. And as you see people squeaming, you realize they really don't have America's best interest at heart. The fact that going back to the Constitution is even a phrase is problematic. It should never have had to go back. We should have been following it all along. And you're seeing all the conniptions that they're going through because, yeah, we're going back to it. Exactly. Dalgal, for sure. Barry, thank you for saving me from regular media. They were only my source of news. Now it's your channel. Been here for a while, just not contributing to the good cause. Thank you very, very much. Mountain Goddess. The women that are shaving their heads call Trump a racist, then go look like skinheads. Yeah, it's so funny. That's so funny. Arizona guy won. Democrats went back. Please continue. God bless. They're never going to win. They're never going to win. Priscilla says those guitars are $10,000 each. My goodness. $10,000. That's a lot of scratch for a guitar. Many people froze and didn't stick up for themselves when called names. Oh yeah, I read that one. Electric Goddess says, I am a remote government worker serving my country proudly. I work my ass off, U.S. PTO, and make the government a profit. I pay my own salary with the fees we collect. And I will salute you for that. What happens when they tell you to come in the office? Are you going to quit? Or your ability to, work your butt off stops if you have to go to the office. I'm just saying, just asking a question. I would love to know from you what you would do if you had to go into the office. And that's about it for today. So let's see, it's 5:30. I'll see you guys at 7:30 or so tonight for the nightcap. I hope you can join in. Love to have you. By the way, if you have the chance, go ahead and join our group over on X. I got to get that finished. I got to get that fixed so that it's actually over 10,000. We're on our way to 11,000 people in our fanfareshop.org/group X group on X. And we're going to give some hoodies away tonight. So if you'd like to register to be a part of that, go ahead and go to fanfareshop.org and register to win a hoodie. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Talk to you later on tonight.